What is going on, everybody? Phoenix Gaming here. Thank you for stopping by, and today we are going to be going over everything that is coming with the pre and post launch of Outriders that is due out next week, April 1st. Everything you need to know is going to be in this video. That is going to be from the launch times, from what they plan on doing with the day one patches, what they plan on doing for post-launch patches, what they plan on doing with the cheating, and everything else in between. So if that sounds good to you, let's just go ahead and get right into this. So now, it was just released almost about an hour ago on the Reddit forum and on Twitter. And it says, "Hello everyone, we're just 1 week out from launching of Outriders fully on April 1st, 2021. 7 days to go. We've got a lot of things to cover today, so let's jump right into it. Note that your progress and characters should be waiting for you in the main game. You do not need to manually transfer them. I've broken this into many sub-threads in order to create an index that will help you focus on things that interest you the most. So what we're going to be going over today is going to be the preloading and launching times, what's changed between the demo and the launch, the patches and post-launch support, item restoration for players who lost their legendaries, our policy on cheating and hacking, and then the Hell's Ranger info, which is the pre-order bonus that you should be receiving if you have already pre-ordered Outriders through whichever platform. So to start things off, we are going to be going through the preloading and the launch timing. So for preloading, Xbox preloading will be live today. So Xbox will be able to preload the Outriders game already. PlayStation platforms preloading will begin 48 hours in advance of release time. So if it comes out next Thursday, you should be able to preload it on Tuesday. Steam, we are still determining our preload options here and hope to share news about the possibility of it next week. And then for the Epic Game Store, preloading is not currently possible. So it looks like Epic Game Store, you're not going to be able to preload it. You might actually have to wait until the actual release time, which we'll get into here shortly. And then with Steam, we should be able to find out when that will actually be released sometime next week. Hopefully, I could probably say it'll probably come down to the PlayStation platform 48 hours in advance of release time, which should give enough people to actually download it and have it onto their system before the game actually drops. So now for the launch times. Rolling midnight unlock for consoles. Consoles, Xbox and PlayStation will unlock at midnight on April 1st for your specific country. For the USA, this means midnight EDT, Eastern Standard Time, April 1st, which is 21 Pacific Time on March 31st. So it's going to be a rolling midnight unlock for all consoles, for all regions. So it should be going as the way of New Zealand should be getting it first, and then it should just start filtering that way going across the globe. A unified single globe time for PC and Stadia. The platforms will release on April 1st at 1700 BST, which I believe is 5 p.m. in the UK, and then 9, which is 09 on April 1st for Pacific time. These platforms can only release at a single time globally. This is due to how their stores are set up. Here's a countdown that will help you understand how long to go in your specific region, which is a link to the actual countdown itself. So if you want to head over there, I'll drop a link to the Reddit post below. You can check out the countdown and see where it is for your region. This time is the standard PC release time for Square Enix and has been carefully chosen to ensure that the maximum amount of support and partner staff are on hand to deal with any launch day issues, which is really good. So that if we remember how the Outriders demo performed when people were trying to get in, there were a lot of server issues, a lot of people, even Outrider ambassadors, would not be able to actually get into the game, and then they had to fix all the server issues. So for them to actually release it during this time, you know, at 5 p.m. UK, 9 a.m. In the US, yeah, it actually works really well that way. They have the amount of people on staff to actually help with the launch of the game. Alright, so now we're heading into what has changed between the latest demo build and the launch day build of Outriders. So this is going to go very in depth, so if I speak too fast, I do apologize, but I just want to get through this video, that way I'm not wasting your guys' time, and that way you guys can move on to other things. But below is only a condensed overview. In truth, the launch day build contains a multitude of additional general improvements, balancing, bug fixes, and crash resolutions. Highlights include lots of demo content bug fixes, including, for example, mods on some legendary weapons not triggering properly, balancing changes for various items, mods, enemy stats, and loot drops. Balancing is an ongoing process, and we have learnt much from the internal playtest, the insider's preview, and the demo over the previous months. However, we're sure that we will continue to learn more from the launch of the main game and the feedback provided by you, our community, so keep it coming. Crossplay will no longer be in a beta and will be on by default. PC players will be able to add cross-platform players that they have previously played with to their friends list. Consoles will receive this functionality through a future patch. Please note that if you turn crossplay off manually, you'll not be able to automatically matchmake with people who still have it turned on. even if you are all on the same platform. Direct inviting should still work though. DirectX 12 will be the default on PC. Added a quick mark functionality to your inventory. This will allow you to mass mark all items based on the rarity in 1 or 2 button presses, rather than needing to mark items individually, which is still possible if preferred. Improvements to the cover system, improvement to travel voting system when used when in a group, added information about internal cooldown mechanics for mods to their descriptions. Further going into it, there's going to be a lot more about patch intentions we're going to go into, but as you can progress through the main game, you will also have full access to the crafting system, character levels, all world tiers, and more. No more grinding for legendaries at world tier 5. We recommend playing through the story and enjoying the experience first. Legendaries will drop naturally over time as you push your world tier higher and get into expeditions content. Alright, so now going into patches and post-launch support, we currently have a few patches undergoing testing and submission. It is our full intention to release patches across all platforms simultaneously, though this may not always be possible. Below are our pre-planned patches. However, as with the demo, we will be carefully monitoring the launch, and it is our full intention to, on short notice, hotfix any issues that we are able to reproduce and resolve on our side and that are deemed severe enough. Issues of lesser severity that we are able to reproduce and resolve will likely be bundled into the bigger post-launch follow-up patch for the sake of efficiency. So your day 1 patch, this is a patch we're hoping to have ready and integrated into preloading even before launch. If everything goes to plan, you won't even have to download this on day 1, but there is a possibility that this patch will release on April 1st, day 1, and will therefore require an additional download. Many bug fixes and improvements with a particular focus on the latter sections of the game, performance improvements for pacing stuttering that was observed during the demo, camera smoothing improvements for cutscenes and dialogues. This should reduce the camera shake that some players are struggling with. Cutscenes, dialogues, frame rate improvements. PC cutscenes will have the option to choose from 30, 60, 90, and 120. Xbox Series XS and PlayStation 5 cutscenes will be locked to 60, and then Xbox One and PlayStation 4 cutscenes will remain locked to 30 FPS. Next, for the post-launch follow-up patch and upcoming optimizations, we have an additional pre-planned patch that is intended to address any recently reported issues or bugs coming out of the demo that the run to launch didn't allow us enough time to implement beforehand. The resolutions for any non-urgent bugs that are discovered during launch may well be rolled into this patch. At this point in time, we do not yet have a set release time for this patch, as it is released will depend on the amount of content we want to roll into it. We are expecting this to roll out at least a few weeks after launch. Newly discovered severe issues will be hotfixed earlier and separately from this patch, of course. Below are our intentions for this patch: controller adjustment options for our dead zone adjustment, acceleration settings and legacy layouts, loading time improvements for Xbox One and PlayStation 4 consoles, further performance improvements for co-op games, crossplay friends list and invite system across all platforms. This will require you to be using a Square Enix member's account, bug fixes including, for example, lore collectibles bugging out on second characters. The list will continue to be built out as we progress through launch. So this is going to be an ongoing thing for the post-launch follow-up with the patch that they claim that they're going to be releasing soon after the game is released. So just keep monitoring this, and I'm sure with the amount of transparency as the Outriders devs have been giving us, they're going to let us know what else is going to be coming in the optimizations and the post-launch patch follow-up. Alright, so now let's get into the item restoration for players who lost their legendaries. As mentioned in our previous dev update, we intend to restore legendaries to players who lost them as a result of a specific bug. The restoration is taking place right now as part of today's maintenance on Thursday, March 25th. The restoration is a one-off event for the global player population. Restoration will take place on March 25th and will restore any legendaries lost before March 22nd. Only legendary weapons that were lost can be restored. Please check whether you lost your legendary weapons have been restored once the maintenance has ended. Since we implemented our fix for this bug, we have observed a smaller number of continued reports regarding lost legendaries. We believe most of these to be down to the regularity of the game autosaving rather than a specific bug. Put simply, if you found a legendary but the game was terminated before an autosave could occur, that legendary or any other item would never have made it into your server inventory or logs. Instances of this occurring include players using specific farming methods that are so fast that they prevent the game from triggering an autosave cycle before the farming run is reset. In extreme cases, some players may go for long periods of time without autosaving. Players crashing out of the game just before after they pick up a legendary. We are continuing to investigate such use cases, and we are looking into how we can mitigate against them in the future. While we hope that we manage to restore as many legendaries as possible, we expect there to be a niche cases of players not having a legendary restored because it never arrived on our logs, as per the use cases above. If this is the case, please reply to the subthread here so that we can track and be aware of how many cases were missed. We will try to provide news around further steps when we know more. So, if you log in today, you should be able to retrieve all of the lost legendaries that you did have. But keep in mind though, like they stated just now, If you logged out when you received your legendary without letting the game autosave, more than likely that legendary did not get saved into their server, so there's probably going to be a chance where you're not going to have that legendary regardless. But also keep in mind, this is just a demo. This is just a it does get transferred over, but you're only at world tier 5. You're going to be progressing up further into the higher world tiers, where legendaries are going to become more of a common thing rather than something that is uncommon. Alright, so now let's get into the big thing here, which is the cheating and hacking that occurred during the demo. So the policy on cheating and hacking since demo launches has been a hotly debated topic, so we wanted to provide some perspective on it, as well as outline our policy regarding cheating and hacking going forward. For context, at the time when we reached around 2 million players, we identified 200 players who had clearly cheated. In percentage terms, so that's 0.01%. We can see you all, yes, even the person who gave themselves 600 legendary weapons. We trust that this percentage will not grow by much as we move through and beyond launch, but below are the steps we will take to ensure that legit players will not have their fun spoiled as a result of cheaters. Repercussions of being identified as having used cheats are account-wide, not character-specific. You will not be able to matchmake with legit players. Matchmaking will likely take significantly longer. You will still be able to play solo. In future, your HUD will have a discrete but visible watermark placed on it so that gameplay footage created on this account can be readily identified as coming from a flagged account. All accounts will be checked for evidence of cheat use on launch day, April 1st, and then at regular intervals thereafter. Any account logs found to have evidence of cheating on them on or after launch day will be permanently branded. If you cheated during the demo just to try it out, but wished to go into the main game unbranded, you must delete all characters and items on your entire account in order to wipe the slate clean. You should not carry over any progress between demo and main game if you previously cheated but do not plan to do so in the main game. Okay, so now what is considered cheating? Intentionally running the game on PC without easy anti-cheat, modifying game files to enhance character, level, skills, inventory, externally modifying game time to reduce time-dependent features such as vendors and challenges, using a trainer program or similar to gain advantages within the game, using gameplay altering programs such as aimbots or wall hacks. Individual players who are found to be being regularly kicked by multiplayer hosts shortly after joining may also be manually reviewed as an additional anti-cheat, anti-grief safeguard. Using performance tweaking software such as Reaver Tuner, for example, to improve a personal game experience is not considered cheating. Farming is not considered cheating, even though the amount of battering that the captain underwent could be considered unethical. We reserve the right to update and change this policy in the future. So now overall, with the cheating aspect of everything, it sounds like from moving forward, at least from my perspective, from moving forward, if you get caught cheating, this is what's going to happen to your account. You're going to be branded, you're going to have trouble matchmaking with other players who are actually playing the game legit. But if you want to remove all that, then you just delete your characters and start fresh, which isn't a big deal because this game is very grind intensive. It is supposed to be that way, and you know, sometimes it can work for the better. Overall, the best thing to do is just not cheat, play the game the way you need to play it, and then move on. But I know a lot of people that on Discord that I've played with did the whole vendor time travel thing, and at the same time, you know, it is what it is at this point. The game officially comes out next week, and if you want to go in there with a clean slate, then I highly recommend you do so if you feel like you went into the game cheating or if you did something of that nature. Alright, and lastly, the Hells Ranger info. The Hells Ranger content will become available via your stash for anyone who owns it. This means that even if you progress through the story without it, you will not miss out on acquiring it in-game. Please note that the game is level locked at level 10, so you will need to meet its requirements achieving level 10 or playing on certain level boosting world tiers before you are able to use it. So the Hells Ranger info is the pre-order bonuses that you have gotten when you did the pre-order through whatever platform it is. So you should be able to find that in your stash. If your stash is full because you were grinding the demo, then it should be in a separate stash that they should have implemented when the demo is released. So just keep that in mind. But other than that, guys, that is it. If you found this video helpful and informative, you can help support by simply rating and sharing this video. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any Outriders content. As always, likes appreciated, subs respected, and I will catch you around next time. Take care.